What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the TrueShot Guest Spot Podcast. Two guests on today, one of which is a returning guest. That is Jeff Menig. He manages the band Left to Suffer. He's also the marketing man down at the Masquerade venue down in Atlanta, Georgia. And he is one half of the ownership of FeaturedX.com. And the other guest, you may know him from playing bass in Fit for a King. He does some singing for Fit for a King as well. He's also in another project called Off-Road Minivan, and he also owns FeaturedX along with Jeff. That is Ryan, or as you probably know him, Tuck O'Leary. And so FeaturedX is an awesome website. I'm on there. So basically what it is that if you want to have an artist featured on your song, maybe it's not me. Maybe you want like a Kellen Quinn or, from Left to Suffer. Maybe you want Taylor Barber featured on your track. You can go over to FeaturedX.com and you can get them to feature on your track. But since this interview, they've also added graphic artists as well. So even if you're not in a band, if you have like a podcast or anything similar to that, you can hit up one of these graphic designers on there, and it's a kind of a one-way stop to get them to do some work for you. So I'll be quiet, and we'll get into the interview. So here is Tuck from Fit for a King, Off-Road Minivan and FeaturedX, and Jeff, artist manager and also part of FeaturedX as well. Enjoy.
The writing's on the wall, replaying every story. Reality got lost in the fear waiting for me.
Yeah, let's rock.
All right. We got Jeff Menig here, Tuck O'Leary from Fit for a King, Off-Road Minivan. Both of them, though, from FeaturedX. What's going on, gentlemen?
How are you doing today, Richard?
Yeah.
It's good to talk to you again.
Yeah.
Hi, Richard.
Hi, Tuck. It's good to meet you. And Jeff, long time no see. I think I just talked to you like a week ago. So good catching up here. It's been a long time. It's good to
I've been seeing your podcast circulating a lot, and as a new podcaster, it's pretty awesome. Glad to see you've been crushing it, and Jeff tells me that you are the king of content, but goddamn your voice and your beard. I'm envious of them both.
Well, so I was going to say, it's nice to get a fellow beard person on this show. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I just haven't come across too many people with beards, but now I knew that you were going to be coming on. So it's the podcast of the beards.
I just took like an inch off of it, this past weekend or so. But I've just been trying to grow it out because I'm like, well, if no one's going to see me for a really long time, like I'm just going to go for it. And if it can come out just beast mode, it's going to be cool. But I'm also, I'm going to do a bunch of steroids. I'm going to get real big. I'm going to look like Bane. Because when I put the mask on and I'm in the gym, right, and I got my pump and I'm looking at myself, I'm like, if I put on 30 pounds, could I?
You go.
Maybe I could be Bane. So I think that would be cool. I think that would up the stock of Fit for the Kings a lot. I think people would be like, wow, I think know.
So too.
Yeah, it would be cool. If I could still do all the dance moves while being on steroids, that would be very
Fit for a King could write the next Batman movie trailer song.
That would
be cool.
It's a perfect crossover.
And you said you used to be 6'3". Do you think that those will help out with that too? You think?
Yeah, I think the steroids will make me tall again. They'll make me, sound like Creation's Destructions, and all those freaking Punishers that are like, well, Fit for a King peaked at Creation Destruction. They can go and get off to that record because they'll have a great time with it.
Saying that you peaked out at the Path. Nobody's saying that.
No, man, here's the thing. I was just talking to Jeff about this today, and it's a continued conversation of myself and the Crimbus and Bobby too, where I think one thing about Fit for a King is people do make these comments on the internet, right? And then they're like, oh, I'm just going to go off and be trolly or whatever. But the reality is we do read them.
Oh, yeah.
But we read them in a way where we are trying to be perceptive. And so when you go and you have someone that makes a comment that says like, okay, I like the Path or I don't like the Path, but one, comment that's been staying true is it's not heavy enough. Okay. And then we're like, well, you know what? There's a lot of songs in Drop F. There's a lot of stuff that's still in that realm, but did we write, a Tower of Pain or a Stacking Bodies ass beater? I don't know if we did. And then that's a good thing for us because then maybe you'll get it next time. So we take your complaints and we put it into something good
And I mean, you
because
guys
it comes
did hit,
from somewhere.
yeah, and you guys hit 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. So I mean, hey, I mean, come on, you know what I'm saying? You had to have done something.
did.
Yeah, I was gonna. Have you ever thought about doing an isolated Bobby talking vocal going into a breakdown? I think that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, it would be sick. And it's funny because when we do, he writes some choruses right sometimes. So like when we originally heard Pissed Off, it was
God.
just all Bob. It wasn't just Bob and Ryan back and forth. So yeah, you get those Neanderthal vocals going a lot when you hear demos for the record.
That's actually when I first heard of you guys. It was the song "Pissed Off." I believe it was at a Warp Tour. That's when I first came across Fit for a King.
Oh, cool. Maybe 2015.
Yeah, I remember it was because I'm from New Hampshire, so I went to the one in Mansfield, Massachusetts, and it was.
Okay.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember if it was the Warp Tour that was downpouring, but there was one year where it was just so bad that, I mean, my clothes stuck to me, like the blacks from the pants just were all over my legs. So it might have been
That was many days, sadly. Jeff got caught in one with me as well. And where it's just, it starts raining and you're like, oh my God, we have to save all the merch now. Go.
I heard you guys' podcast. That was fun. That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. All hands on deck.
But yeah, we played 2014 for half the year, and then we played 2015 and 2017.
Okay.
I loved doing Warped. That shit was a blast, man.
Well, hey, I mean,
it was hard, but it was great because it built. Ryan and I were talking about that, where it was like, man, or Corey, sorry, our manager, where Warped helped us build a lot of fans, man. It was a big deal.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, there was I think it was actually the same Warped Tour. It was you guys, Siler. There was a couple of bands that I really got into because you're sitting there and you're looking at the Warped Tour big blimp thing, and you're looking, you're like, oh, okay, there's nothing really going on this time. What band name sounds the coolest? So go check that one out or something like that. And so it was a cool way to discover bands. But I mean, Franz has been saying he's going to bring it back for about 15 years at this point. So maybe that'll be maybe that.
What the fuck is up?
I think. I don't know if it will ever come back. I think something will take its place. Yes. So it's going to start from fresh, I believe. But it will be something similar and carry the baton, so to speak, I think, into the future.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, the biggest issue with Warped Tour wasn't a way that it was operating necessarily, even though there could have been maybe less bands or some more quality bands at times. But the big problem was, okay, you're Paramore, you're a Day to Remember, you're like a really big band, you've made your quote unquote nut off of Warped Tour scene, but now you're at the point where it's okay, it's summertime. I could go do a headliner with 2 other bands, play 3,000 to 5,000 cap rooms inside, crush it, sell a ton of merch, never go outside at all, and that's my summer. Or I can make possibly less money, but I'll get to be around a lot of friends, if I even want to have friends, if I even have friends. And then, it's just not necessarily as conducive. But the thing that needs to happen is those bands that made their way through Warped Tour need to come back, because the other problem is a lot of bands, and this is not a Day to Remember or Paramore, because they're still very true to being Warped Tour bands, but a lot of those bands that forget about Warped Tour, it doesn't really do them a big service either necessarily.
Long term, it's bad for everybody if they don't give back. You know what I mean? Because then you go through lulls where the scene isn't as strong, and then everyone suffers because shows and merch sales and ticket sales and record sales are just down across the board. You know what I mean? So
let's not forget that Warped Tour also did give a lifetime supply of unoriginal jokes too. So we can have that on the internet now too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love those. Biden's first action is going to be bringing back. It's like, heard that joke 53 times now. Let's move on to something different.
Yeah, it's one of those things where in a time and place where people are so into FOMO and, like
Yeah.
nostalgia. South Park had 2 seasons based off of nostalgia, where of course people are going to miss Warped Tour. But a lot of those people who are complaining that they missed Warped Tour also didn't fucking support it. They didn't go. So it's like, don't complain to me about it when it could have been better had you cared more. But, hope to God that it comes back someday, because it was the best for a young band. There's no better way for a young band to figure out if they can make it, to figure out if people care, because that's the cool thing about Warped Tour is people are just walking around all the time. And I've seen it a lot where there's a band that is small or whatever. And God, a great example, Paris, when they first went on Warped Tour, 2014, half of it. By the time that Fit for a King got to the second half of Warped Tour, because we knew them because they were from New England area.
Right.
By the time we got there, every single person, crew, band member, whatever, had a Paris shirt. You knew that band was going to blow up, and then you hear, "Oh yeah, everybody watched that band." What? They're on the Ernie Ball stage. They're playing half of it on an Ernie Ball stage, making no money, but they had the crowd. Yep, they had the crowd. Everybody was all about Paris. Like, you can just, if you're naturally magnetic, it'll work for you.
Yeah, and the Paris is one of those bands too that I remember a lot of my friends seemed to really gravitate towards them. I never really did, because I was, back then I was like, fucking Lamb of God, man. I was one of those guys, but a lot of people gravitated to like Paris and stuff like that. So yeah, they kind of seem to like burst, and then I'm not saying that they've died out or anything like that now, but they're not. I haven't heard much about them as like the time period.
I think they're more from college kids now, maybe.
They've shifted totally into the just pop world.
Yeah. So
which is cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, hey, whatever works, whatever you want to do. That's the beauty of being a musician and being in a band. You just do whatever the hell you want. I mean, look at it. Fit for a King did the Path. So no, I'm kidding, Tuck. Don't hurt me.
Well, they were supposed.
I'm kidding, Tuck. I'm kidding.
Woo!
I'm joking. I like the Path personally, and
as you should. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant record.
It's the best one. But no, because as I'm sure Jeff's told you, and I think that I've actually tagged you on Instagram a couple of times, because we do the reaction videos, and actually Jared, your drummer, this big gigantic behemoth of a man. Yeah, he was a super nice guy. When he saw them, he actually reached out and messaged me, and I thought that was really cool that he appreciated us checking it out. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think
good job, Jared.
Jared's a sweetheart, and I think that that's one thing, at least with our band, that we do, and I don't get when bands don't do it, is like, okay, you're looking at through the internet and you see reaction videos about your band or comments or whatever and all this kind of stuff, and obviously the negative stuff is difficult to deal with, but for the most part, especially people that someone just wants to DM you on Instagram and be nice or whatever, why the fuck wouldn't you just respond or like just say hi or just be like, yo, cool reaction video or whatever? Like, are you that much of a dick where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this whole thing but like he won't even know that I watched it? You fucking dickhead. Like, just say like, yeah, thanks for taking the time to do this. It's nice. But it's just cool. The fact that anyone would give a shit, enough to watch your band or listen to a song or whatever, and then actually make a piece of content based off of it because they enjoyed it, didn't enjoy it, whatever, regardless, is fucking cool. I like it.
Yeah, well, we're just shamelessly using your popularity to plug the breakdown for our latest song at the intro. So hey, it's a win-win. There we go.
Man, all that clout really paid the bills this year. Let me tell you.
But
man,
so people are probably watching this. And they're probably like, how come these guys are on a podcast together? I'm sure some people probably saw my podcast with Jeff. And people do know you, Tuck. I know that you're the Joe Rogan of metalcore. I'll be the Jamie. Yeah. Well, how about that? We'll make
there you go. You can be Josta. You got a closer voice to Josta than I do. Plus, he's a New England guy. He's Connecticut.
Yeah, he is. Yep, exactly. Okay, I'll be Josta. Okay, you be Joe Rogan. I'll be Josta. Anyways, They're wondering how come you guys are together? Where does this friendship? Where does this connection start?
Well,
Oh
let's
man,
tell
it's
that
deep.
story.
Yeah. All right, I can get through
You
it
want to
pretty
go
quick.
way back?
Yeah, I'll get through it pretty quick. Okay,
It's
so
bats together when we were 6, and then from there. No, go ahead.
yeah, almost. No, I was in a local band when I was in 8th grade. We were gonna play our first like legitimate show. They had played one beforehand, but now I joined the band. I was the lead screamo in my screamo band called Annandale, and we were going to open a show at Club Crandall in Poughkeepsie, New York, and it was an Aiden, the Hurt Process, the Audition, and the Junior Varsity, and a Second Chance, which was Just Surrender predating Just Surrender, and we had to like sell tickets and shit, and Jeff was the promoter. And over the next couple of years, like played a few shows, but I also started booking my own shows at my Elks Lodge in high school because like my parents would put a deposit down on the Elks Lodge in town for me and let me put on a show. And that would help me to like fund my bands or like just make money or have fun because it was fun and I enjoyed it. And then Jeff caught wind of that again. We, kept started like interacting with you, right?
Well, yes, because I caught wind of it because it was the same exact Elks Lodge that I booked my first shows at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
right.
so Jeff is still like, he's the guy in the area booking all the shows and everything. So then he kind of started letting me hang out, and he helped put on shows at the Elks Lodge and like gave us like way cooler ones to do. Like we put on like the Wonder Years with the Years Gone By, I think, or like some shit like that. And then I got in better bands. Jeff started managing my band when it was me and like just some guys in the area. This is a band called The Last of Our Kind. You can find it on YouTube. Eventually they got signed to Media Scare and we're going to put out a record, but it didn't happen. But the record is out, so you can listen to it on YouTube. But I didn't make it because I got kicked out. So I got kicked out of that band. But Jeff had like helped us manage on and off, but we couldn't do anything. We wrote like three songs in 3 years, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And
Consistent.
is very, very talented, very unproductive. So then me and my buddy Chris, who worked with Jeff in Poughkeepsie, started a band. It's called Visions. You can also find that on YouTube. And Jeff managed that band, and like just throughout this whole time period, Jeff has kind of just been my mentor, allowed me to learn, like been around him, seen him putting on shows, helped me to grow my bands in and of itself. So we got to play, a lot of the premier packages that came through to the Poughkeepsie area. And then even after that, so Jeff started managing Sworn In.
Yeah.
And he knew Fit for a King, and because they had played the area. And then Chris started tour managing Sworn In. Chris also knew Fit for a King. Both of them put my name in the ring. And then I got an audition for Fit. I joined Fit. Me and Jeff just been friends this whole time. And then throughout Poughkeepsie, and then he moved to Atlanta, and we, I see him every time I go to Atlanta now too. But I mean, really everything I've learned about the music industry, I've learned from being around Jeff. If it wasn't from him managing my bands, it was him teaching me how to, do shows or how to deal with something bigger, and then seeing him do crazy things like, working on projects like Bamboozle and stuff like that, which, I didn't like intern with him or anything, but you get around energy like that, and it's really, really positive for you as a young person who's trying to make it, because as much as I am a musician and I love that aspect of my craft, I just really like the industry and being involved in it. So seeing someone that can just kind of get so much done, it was like, holy shit, like, okay, there are things to be accomplished here if you want to try to accomplish it. So yeah, that's just the story of how Jeff Menig and Ryan Fuck O'Leary came together.
That's a nice.
That was wonderful.
That was a beautiful, beautiful story. By the way, I know that you guys obviously just did a podcast together on your podcast, Get Tucked, which I gotta say. So I just a quick aside, real quick, just because I want to bring this up. So during the pandemic, obviously, I'm in, and I have my band and whatnot, but as a lot of people know, screaming bands. We're not each making $75K a year. We're not. So we have day jobs, but so I got laid off from my job, so I started doing like DoorDash to make ends meet. And I got to be honest, your podcast, man, was like my thing that I listened to on a daily basis. I just went through the feed because I was just like, I'm gonna be in this car for hours and hours and hours. Gonna do what I gotta do. So I just listened to that, and I liked that the podcasts were longer because they made the day go by faster.
Thanks, man. It's been my solace through this whole thing. Like that one thing that's kind of forced me to be social. I talk with my friends. It makes me feel better, and I also have been on this like effort to, and it's really started over the last 2 years with Fit, where I just want to show people the real side of me and show them who I really am and my sense of humor and the things that I like. And when I interview my friends, I think that they hear a side of them that's different, because every other interview they do, someone's like, well, tell me what the theme was behind the path. And it's like, I don't fucking care like about that. I want you guys to have a good time and get to know my buddies. Like, I want you to see. And if it's someone that I don't know, it's just that much more fun, because then it's like, all right, let's see how this goes. Strap your fucking seatbelt on, like, because I don't know either. Like, It might get weird and awkward, and I hope that someday someone's a dick so I can put out that one too.
Oh, that'd be great. No, man. It's so true though. Like if you just have like a regular conversation on a podcast rather than like you said, like, so I noticed in track 3 there's a theme here that I'm noticing. It's like instead of doing that kind of interview, and you just really promote the person, I think more people will gravitate towards their product or whatever it is that they have, whether it's a band or whatever.
Yeah. And I know, like, maybe like for this one, like we reached out and we're like trying to get on other podcasts, but I don't know how you do it for the most part, but for me, I don't really want people to like hit me up and be like, hey, can I come on your podcast? Because I just want to have the people on my podcast my podcast when I want to have that on my podcast, because that's what feels right to me at that time. Right. You know what I mean? And that sounds like really fucking ego driven, but it's like, no, you don't get it. Like, you get there when you get there. Like, I can't force myself to want to talk to you. Like, I have to want to talk to you, because otherwise I can't talk to you for 2 hours. And if it's 40 minutes, everyone's going to know, like, oh, Tuck did not, like, if you see a Joe Rogan interview and that shit's an hour long, you're like, oh, he fucking hates this guy. Like, it's not 3 hours. It's not an Elon Musk, So I only want to put out something where people know that I care about the band. I'm being sincere about it. Like, if there's a song that I play on my mid-roll mosh, it's because I really fucking like it. I can't be bought into doing it. I can't be told to do it. If I think you suck, like, I'm not gonna fuck with it, but I'm also not gonna tell you that you suck. I'm gonna give you constructive criticism, because that's the best way to do it. And that's another thing that Jeff has always done for me well. He speaks to me very honestly, and it's just like, okay, like, this is how we get better. This is how we put out better product. This is how we write better songs. Let's work with better people. And that's just one thing that it's every day. It's taken years. You have to learn. You have to be willing to learn and to be constructive of yourself, because if you think that everything you do is a home run, then you got nowhere to go, because you're the best, I guess.
You're the best. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. So going back to what you were saying about, really showing people, who you really are and stuff like that. I want Jeff to show who he really is. Now, Jeff, how much did you charge a young Tuck per month to manage him?
Nothing.
I just wanted to tie in how we all kind of got to talk to each other. Because I remember, I think it was.
Is that really how we started? That's how
it's. I remember I posted something about it on Facebook, and then you tagged Tuck, and then it just kind of took on a life.
Yeah, because
me and him were, because we had been talking about it like an hour prior or something like that, and it was just like, look at that.
Yeah, because it's funny, because like I had talked to Tuck just in the DMs, which, by the way, I just no big deal. I'm just talking to Tuck and Jeff in their DM. Kind of a big deal. You know what I mean?
Well, we also charge for that, Richard.
Yes,
I got a lot of metalcore kids in my DMs.
Because from that, or just in general?
Just in general.
Yeah, I'm sure. No,
I had to turn it back on, even though I'm going to shine on the top.
Well, it's funny because it's like, I think a lot of I don't know, because everybody's like very eager to. It's funny what I've noticed with metalcore bands, especially, like everybody's very desperate for everybody to know who they are, but then like I do like social media ads and stuff like that. That's like something that I enjoy doing. And some bands will ask me like if I can do it for them, and I say, sure. What's your budget? Like, we got $100. I'm like, okay, that's not gonna do nothing. Okay, like, what do we got next?
I can make $100 do something.
Well, you're better than me, Jeff. I mean, let's just be real here. But
well, I'm just because I mean, every single that Left to Suffer ever did, we only spent $250 to $300.
Well, Left to Suffer is also good. I mean, so that helps.
Well, that's the thing.
Being naturally magnetic is helpful.
Yes.
Well, that's that's kind of the thing that gets brought up a lot in a lot of the consultations I do is like, well, if we did this kind of campaign, like what can be guaranteed? And I'm like, well, I can guarantee you that I can put your shit in front of the right people.
Right.
But then it's up to those people and the kids, and if they fucking fuck with it or not. And if they don't, then they don't. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. And like what you were saying, Tuck, it helps to be magnetic. Because I had Taylor on the podcast recently, I had no goddamn clue this dude was like a 6'6" offensive lineman.
He's a little bitch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight his ass.
I'm just
every podcast we go on, Tuck calls him out.
It's one of those things, dude. Richard, you think he's big, and then you stand next to him, and I don't know how big you are, but I'm 5'7", 180
I'm
pounds.
7'9", so I mean he's
there. You go. All right, so he ain't got shit on you.
The camera's laid down on the floor, so
it's magical. He's a giant behemoth, man.
Yeah, and I thought it was really cool to talk to him and to really get his backstory about playing college football and stuff like that, and how that all fell out. And I mean, that alone right there, if that didn't sell you on wanting to listen to Left to Suffer, I don't know what will, because that's like some real like good stuff there. I don't know. I thought that was super cool.
He's a very unique individual.
Yeah,
he's still so young.
He's a baby.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Makes me feel old. So
same. But it's it's one of those things, man. One, age doesn't really matter that much anymore. It depends on your talent, because I've definitely seen bands break later in life rather than earlier at times. And I'm 31. I'm going for it, and I think I'm gonna play hopefully for a long time. We'll see. It depends on how many more The Paths I write. Right, guys? We write like I write all that music bullshit. Even though I did, primarily write everyone's least favorite song, Locked in My Head.
I remember. I heard
that song's a heater.
You destroyed the band, Tuck. How dare you?
I did. No, that's usually what happens. There's usually like I get really sad or happy for a song or two, and it works. It's like a death grip or a win everything. But this time I was like, I love my friends. Yuck.
That's our smash. Fuck it.
Yeah. And it's still the third most popular song on the record, so everyone can suck it out there. Yeah, let's talk about Taylor for a second, just for one more second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's just a really unique individual. Like, as someone who does like get lucky enough to like tour and meet a lot of because I'm a fan, of music. So when I got to meet a lot of these people when I joined my band and started touring, you do meet those like legends in the scene, the Frankie Palmieri's, and
I'm wearing a Mira shirt right here. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, and like Vincent from the Acacia Strain and like stuff. Of course, I'll name Rivals. Stuff like that. No, I'm just kidding. Because I'm only saying that because I did the Eternal Enemy tour. Eternal Enemies tour. I cannot speak for shit lately, but
it's all right.
The cool thing about Taylor is he is young, and he's this just force. He's incredibly talented. You hear him scream right next to you. No microphone, nothing.
Yeah, he did it on the podcast a few times. I'm like, man, I gotta warm up for a minute.
It's pretty wild. The guy's got
He's
an
a
insane
beast.
talent, and he just really cares, and I love how much they all care. That whole band really works tremendously hard, and it's very inspiring what Jeff and the band have done together so far for being such a young act.
Yeah, no, Jeff has done an excellent job with them from the outside looking in anyway. I mean, you just look at the amount of time that they've been around and they're at, where they're at Spotify numbers wise, it's all organic. I mean, it's nothing like a paid playlist or any of that
Yes.
crap, you know what I mean? So
Nothing.
yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. But speaking of age though, what we're gonna say, Tuck, go ahead.
Well, just to clarify on what you were
Yeah.
just saying too, or to add to it.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I do bring up a lot, which with that band is what Jeff and them did was not just, try to pull tricks and have a bunch of BS. They really reached out and created an organic fan base. And some of that can't be faked, like, like the TikTok stuff, or can't be not faked, but like replicated. Like you can't just decide I'm going to have a viral TikTok video today or something like that, which is very helpful for the band. But also the band putting themselves out there and putting in the work every single day is what allows for opportunities like that. Because if you don't try just because you say, well, that's not going to happen for me, then of course it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And that TikTok thing that you were mentioning, I went back because I'm one of those guys that, like, I'm not against TikTok, but I don't understand it yet. Like I'm trying to get into it, but I don't really know, like.
That's okay. You don't have to understand it. All you have to understand is this. There's only one thing that needs to be understood, is that that is currently where, so like kids who are like 13 to 23, basically, I don't know what the exact demographic is,
right,
but that's who drives culture,
right,
like pop culture and future monies based on brand awareness and all that shit. So if that's where those people are and that's where their attention is being held, then that's where you need to go to promote yourself. And that's just kind of the end of the story with me. So it's like, if that demographic stops using TikTok because all the grandparents start using it, and then they go to use something else, I'm going to tell Taylor to probably not bail on TikTok, but like, okay, instead of going 110%, just go 10%.
Well, when my grandmother joins TikTok, I'll let you know, Jeff, because that'll be the downfall of it all right there. I mean, once she gets on there, that's
right.
It just goes down from there.
But I'm just saying, it's just like wherever the kids are, basically, that's where you need to go.
Yeah, and like it's like the trends on there. So I Taylor was telling me about, and I think you were telling me it too. People were changing their clothes to. I'm like, what the frig is he talking about? So I went on to TikTok and I found like the thread of it, and I was like, I'm like, I don't even know where this trend came from. And again, I don't understand it, but it's like what you said. That's what drives the culture. So I mean, that's what really matters. But like the trends, I'm like, where do these come from?
They're kind of like. I kind of look at TikTok as like living, breathing memes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
like memes via performance art.
Yeah, because like changing clothes to a breakdown, or because I from when before I started to really kind of navigate because I got one toe in at this point, so I'm not like an expert by any means, but I thought it was just a bunch of people just dancing to WAP or some shit, you know what I mean? So I didn't, I had no idea, but no,
I'm sure there is a lot of that.
There's definitely there's probably a lot of people dancing to Vendetta too. You never know. So
absolutely,
there is, locked in my
head.
Bring
I'm
me
gonna
the
make
Horizon.
a TikTok. Yeah.
Dude, Bring Me the Horizon just had a song from 8 years ago. Yes. What is that song called? Can you
feel my heart?
Yeah, that song. They just had that song enter the Spotify viral top 50 because of a trend on TikTok, and the song's 8 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's the power of that platform. Like could that platform, I feel like if there's music out there that you think is real good and it just didn't get a shot, I would put it even if it's fucking from 10 years ago, I would try and promote it on TikTok, because if you can get a trend going and actually get some attention on it, you could reinvigorate it, I think.
Yeah, we need Chingy Holiday Inn
that's
to come back.
interesting.
We need that song to come back. I remember, you remember that song, Chingy
Yeah.
Holiday Inn? We need that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need that song to come back. I like it. That's a new
Well, I'm
melody
just
line for
saying.
the next Fit for a
That's
King.
the next
Yeah.
Hustle Crow song.
What are you
I'm
gonna
saying,
say?
like,
Yeah.
I was like, I have an album that hasn't been put out that I always thought
It's great.
would do really well, and it's like, oh, why don't we just
It might just be the time for that record too.
Wait,
Because
hold on.
that
well,
shit's
that's it.
gonna
That's
come
also
back.
interesting. That's also interesting. Yeah.
It's the same way like Glamour Kills could come back, Scene Music's coming back, Scene Look is coming back, all that kind of shit's gonna make a comeback.
Everything
You
is
don't
cyclical.
know, now you know.
Everything is cyclical, man. It's crazy. It's like stuff comes back.
Not only is it gonna come back, it's gonna be like a typhoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because so hold on a minute. So Jeff, you said that you have an album. You have an album? Because I was gonna make a joke about how much it costs to get you on feature, but apparently,
we've talked about that.
Price upon
like
request. There you go.
For like a spoken word thing or something like that. But no, I was in a band called Faster Than Fashion, and we have a unreleased album that I've been told from very, very large A&Rs at very, very large labels is like scene pop punk lore. Like, this album, like, everyone knows about it because it got circulated and shopped back in the day.
Huh.
But it never kind of came to be. So it's still just sitting there from, like, I don't even know what year that was at this point, but
About 2007.
2007 or 2008. Yeah.
It's too bad.
But it was like
the
band
manages the band.
It was like it was like some Panic at the Disco, a little bit of My Chem, a little bit of like that Gatsby's American Dream thing that was going on back then. I don't know. It's like theatrical emo.
Whole band was great, man. Like, everyone could play. Singer was great. Like, what was that? Chris Pfister, the guitar player or something.
Yep.
That dude was sick. Band was awesome.
Yeah, because I saw Jeff. You had posted that you and Tucker working with is it an emo band? Did I read that correctly? Like a new band?
The emo band.
The emo. My bad. My apologies.
Yes, they are the
sorry
emo
being
band.
disrespectful.
They are the.
Disrespectful of me.
Maybe we should trademark that and really brand them as that.
They are the emo band. The future is emo. Emo.
It is. The future is emo.
Yeah.
We will be proven right.
Okay. Yeah. So going back to age, I want to get, because I've never actually asked anybody this, but so Tuck, I know that you've been in, Fit for King's been around for a while, but what's it going to look like 30 years from now? Are we going to have metalcore, like guys in their 60s being played? What do you think that? What do you think of that?
I don't know. That's interesting to say. I mean, one can only hope that they can transition in their career in a way where like a Parkway, Gojira,
right.
Bands like that are real metal bands where they can play until they're 60 and it's not going to be weird. It really is time, fan base, how it happens, when it happens. Am I still going to be spin kicking up there then?
I hope so.
No, but is there
a yoga?
Hey, yeah, it's very possible. I'll do some Diamond Dallas Page yoga.
That's right. Oh,
yeah, do the DDP yoga.
Yeah,
and it's a possibility, man. But who knows? Because that's the thing is, we don't want to do it too early. You don't want to do it too late. You don't. It's so hard, man. It's hard to say where we've been lucky where we're this band I talk about. It's like we do this just step by step kind of thing, and we never just went. We just keep going. Every record, you look at the numbers, you look at everything. It's like, all right, we just grow by this percentage, like annually. You'd think that we were like a front or something. And I hope that will continue to happen. And, maybe there is a world where, we are direct support to Parkway. And then maybe we are in that place where we are a Parkway. And if that happens, I mean, you know, even August Burns Red, I think they're going to play for a really long time because they're also just a career metal band. They have their fans, the people love them. They've been Grammy nominated like 2 or 3 times. Like, who's to say? So a lot of it depends, because, you know, do you need to keep growing your fan base, or do you have enough? Where, you know, a Parkway, for instance, for every person that was like, man, I wish they would make a song that sounds like blah blah blah, they had lost that one person, but they gained 10 new ones. So not everyone's going to do that, though, because not everyone's going to be the Metallica of Australia. So
right.
It's super interesting too, especially those 2 bands that you just mentioned, Parkway and August Burns Red, because, you know, like you look and you're like, okay, for rock stars, you know, there's a certain look, there's this, that, there's a character, but those bands in particular, it just seems like from the outside looking in anyway, they're just like regular dudes just playing music. I mean, they're not like an Ollie Sykes personality or, you know, something like that. They seem like, because I mean, Winston and Jake are both in their own right very commanding presences, but they're not like an Ollie. Like I said, they just seem like dudes that just like to play music, and they've just been able to just go on for so long.
I think that's
They've
part of
really
the
leaned
appeal.
into that their whole career too.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the appeal, is those bands were able to bring people to metal that wouldn't have listened to metal in the first place. You want to tap into a really big fan base. Well, we're going to play metal, but we're going to wear Abercrombie. Okay, we're going to pop the collars, and then guys are going to see that. And for a lot of people, myself included, you want to know what I had that moment where I'm in a band and I'm young and I'm going, do I wear flip-flops in Abercrombie? Do I don't. Ah, shit. I don't know. I mean, I wear it sometimes. Do I, you know, and that's how you know that a band has a real impact, where they do something different because they're just themselves. Because that's the other thing, is it wasn't like a fucking con. I mean, let me tell you, they're terrible people. I despise August Burns Red, and I don't want to tour with them ever again.
Yep.
They're just very ego. Now, they are the nicest people on earth. They're so normal. They're just themselves. They like what they like, and they've done that authentically for a very long time. Again, it's really hard to compare yourself to a band that is so unique, and has done. They inspire, you know, more bands than I feel like you can listen to them and be like, oh, they sound like. You can't just tell me they sound like some. I don't know what the fuck. They just sound like August Burns Reds, but I know there are a bunch of other bands that sound like them. So, you know, hard to put yourself in that place where maybe there will come a day where people look back at Fit for a King's career and they feel that way about us, but we haven't done that kind of thing, you know.
Well, don't stay locked in your head too long. You guys will be fine. I just want to get that pun. I wanted to get that pun in there. No, you guys will be fine. Well, no, because it's like you said before, though. You know, it's just like if somebody DMs you, you just say thank you. You know, it's simple stuff like that. So, like with me personally, we did a reaction video to, I believe it was Defender by August Burns Red. And from there, Jake found us. He did a reaction to one of our songs. And then now my guitar player has his phone number and talks to him, you know, somewhat frequently. So I'm going to also clip the part where you said they're terrible people, and I'm going to send it to him. Unless you
please do. Absolutely. No, that's fine. I think that when he sees it, he'll go, you know what? That's right. You know, we've had some moments. You know, he got us. No, you know, I just, as a bro, I like a guy I can go out on the road with, and he brings 275 raw iron with himself in his bus, and I just get to use it. You know, they're the one of those bands we've always looked up to. They've always helped us. They've given us really good advice over the years, and I admired them because that's what made the guys be like, you know what, we could buy houses, we could live a normal life, we can have, you know, wives or kids or whatever. Like you can do this stuff because they weren't out on tour just acting like a bunch of dillholes. We had a lot of fun, drink some beers, have a good time, you know, learn how to have a good time on tour, but also you're at work. And that's what's really important, is a lot of people, when they get into touring, they're like, oh man, it's gonna just, I want to go rage, I want to go party across America. It's like, well, good luck, because your band is gonna be terrible, you're gonna be terrible, and you're gonna borrow your money.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. But I also think too, going back to just bands being able to, get into like that stratosphere of an August Burns Rid or a Parkway Drive. And we're seeing it now with a band like Spirit Box, is that they're kind of acclimating their fan base to just, they'll release whatever, whenever. There's no like one style. And I think that that's also something that's really interesting too, from the outside looking in. And I think that if a lot of bands, I think what happens with a lot of bands too, is that they stick to like one style for so long, and then it's like when they want to try to make a switch.
Dude, we had this conversation earlier today too.
Did you really? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
It's
no, we talked. We were literally talking about bands who like waited 10 or 15 years to try something new, and it's like, no, you've already carved that same path too much, where now you don't have any width. Now you're too deep. So then, yeah, if you want to change and experiment, at the very beginning is when to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, then that way, like Spirit Box, when they put out their album, I'm sure there'll be some songs that I'm like, I get it, it's just not really my taste, but there's also a bunch of songs that I do like, and so on and so forth. Yeah,
that band is a very freak example, and they're gonna break the system.
Yes.
One,
right.
It wasn't just like a spur of the moment, like, all right, well, we wrote these songs, fuck it, let's put them out. No, this band has been meticulously planning, plotting, getting prepared. Their manager, Jason, is extremely smart. And this has been like a steady, like, building a brilliant project for the proper release. Timing was great, but now the cool thing that's going to be with that band too is when it comes to like touring and stuff like that, generally a new band is out. They open up tours or whatever. The only way that band's going to open a tour is if it's for Bring Me the Horizon or Remember. Okay. There's like, they're going to get really good placement. They're going to be treated well. They're going to do well. But again, uniqueness, authenticity, sincerity, like, they're the real deal. They write great tunes. They write something that just sounds like Spirit Box. She just sounds like Courtney. It's great.
Yes, just fucking be yourselves.
Like, be yourself, man. And it's, she was one of those people that, like, even with my podcast, when we talked, I had never talked to her before.
Yeah.
Bro, it was like, I could talk to her for hours. Fucking hilarious, natural, easy, like, just keeping it real, man. Like, you got that radar. Like, you can just, like, you can tell when someone's bullshitting you, and it's like, all right, I get it. Now I get why everybody likes you, because you're awesome. And it's nice. Like, that's a very undeniable, awesome, cool compliment that I'm sure that she receives all the time. Is she's just a nice person. Mike, just a really fucking nice guy. Bill, really fucking nice guy. Drummer, I don't know him. He probably sucks.
he's in none of their pictures. No, but because I had Mike on the podcast as well, like right after Holy Roller, and super nice guy. It went for a long time. He was just a super nice guy, and I asked him, I said, how many years do you think it'll take before the blog stopped putting in parentheses ex Iwabo? How long do you think that'll take before they stop doing that? But no, they're great.
Spirit Box could last for so long too.
Oh yeah.
But also going off of timing stuff, okay. Iwabo definitely had its place in time. It was very important. It fit, and it was necessary. But if you put out Spirit Box, something like that, then it wouldn't do what it's doing now, because it's just timing. Like, it's the same way with like the emo band.
Vemo.
If you put it out 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been right. It's right now.
It's right now. So
why don't you say the name of the band, Tuck?
Oh, just because we were talking. Yeah, L'Exquisite Dolaire.
Yeah, I was gonna butcher it. So I didn't want to.
Exquisite Dolaire. Yeah. Exquisite Dolaire.
Yeah, the exquisite pain. They're the sickest. They're just the realest, and that's Jeffrey. Be that we've been friends for so long. he knows that I really love screamo and emo, and that's what I come from. I really love Thursday and Glassjaw, AFI and Thrice and like stuff like that, right? That's what I did in high school. Is what I was all about. This was one of those bands where I just heard it and I was like, oh, I'm in love with you. Like, I'll do whatever you need from me. And, you know, that's how you should feel if you're going to work for someone, I think. And, you know, that's how we definitely feel about our other acts as well.
I think,
yeah.
I was just going to say, I think getting that question almost daily is, hey, what would it take for you to work with my band, or what do you look for in a band, or something like that? And I'm just like, I literally can't answer that question because my taste is very bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more of just how it hits me and how it feels, and if I can instantly see the next 10 years and deconstruct it in a matter of 30 seconds and just be like, okay, I know which way we have to go. And if I get that aha moment, then it's like, okay, cool, let's work with it. And if I don't, then no.
Yeah, I was talking to Corey about this the other day, and it's on my podcast too. And Corey said the same thing. And he's like done favors for other people. He did a favor for me once, started managing a band that I was friends with and stuff like that. But if you don't have that feeling, it just, you can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah. Well, and it's good that you're honest about that too, because I don't know if you guys are aware. I'm going to fill you in on this, but there are some people who just want $200 a month to pay their light bill.
I don't know if I'm aware of that.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were.
Right.
I know that you're new to all this, so I just wanted to let you.
I haven't complained about this ever, for sure.
Well, because it was just so funny, because I remember when you posted that tweet, Tuck, and I read that, and I'm like, when did I tell him that this happened to me? Because he's obviously posting this because I dealt with it. I mean, I'm unique in this aspect. You know, I'm the only one who's ever dealt with this, correct? But that exact situation happened with my band, because the way it was kind of set up is that we were led to believe or perceive that, like, the only way you're going to play like these good shows is if you work with X people. And so, like, we pretty much did that. We like paid a monthly fee to work with this guy to get us on these shows, because we felt like it was like the gatekeeper thing. So it was really like a glorified local booking agent.
Wow, really?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So, and then he also got us hooked up with a guy for Spotify promotion. So we're very ignorant at this point. So this is what led me to try to just figure all this out on my own, to not rely on these imbeciles any longer. But yeah, go ahead.
Are you going to edit this?
No.
Or is it? No. Okay.
We're taking note. Leave the comment for later.
Yeah.
I can if you would like. I can. But this is good.
I think I know who you're talking about, and I would like to discuss it, but I'm not sure if I would want it to be public information.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we can talk about that. Okay. Yeah. No, but so, I mean, yeah, man. So then we got hooked up for the Spotify promotion thing, and like we were like, yeah, that's awesome, and it was all fun.
Is it a pretty silly promotional name?
It's actually through a record label that is still around today.
Oh, I don't know. All right, we'll talk about this off the air.
Yeah.
But,
so anyway,
sorry.
Anyway, yeah. So basically, what I was getting at is, like, that is so prevalent, and it's crazy. So
it's a lot. It's happening a lot.
It's I don't know. Is there like a convention for these people? They meet up once a year and they're like, all right, let's try to pay our light bills this month.
Twitter.
Yeah, right. And it's, there's certain people that they all rally each other up and they make it seem okay. And they don't when you don't feel any value and you're in a community that doesn't allow you to feel value, or say they look down on you because you want to charge $1,000 to sing on a song when DaBaby charges $100,000 to sing on a song, but they're your favorite singer, right? But they're not worth that money. That's insane. So you have to think about this. These people, they constantly devalue artists all the time. That's what record contracts teach you. That's what, you're taught. I got to give this much to this person in order to feel value. I got to give this much to this person in order to feel value. I'll never be anything without a record label, because what does that do? It's a fucking bank. It's a fucking bank. So it's one of those things where I got a call from a buddy of mine, someone I've known for a long time, and they were like, "Hey, I wanted to tell you about this situation where I'm paying this monthly fee." And my response, all I asked was just, "Well, what are you getting out of it?"
Right.
And I hear what he's getting out of it, and I'm like, "Well, wouldn't that manager think that it would be way smarter for you as a small band to like take that money and go promote a song with it, or do a month or two of promotion with that, and grow the band? Or what is this fee doing? What did they do to earn that month? Because there's no incentive in this situation. They have no reason to make extra emails for you that day. They have no reason to try to get you on a tour, to try to get you in a better position, because they know that money is coming anyway. They don't really give a shit about you, because if they really give a shit about you, they would treat themselves the same way that the band members treat themselves, which is, when I earn money, I get money. When I earn money, they get money. They work for me. You want some of this fucking money? You want some? It really annoys me, man, because I work really hard for what I get. I've worked really hard to get where I'm at, and why would I just go and pay some chump a monthly fee? Like, that just blows my mind, and it's because you're taking advantage of people that don't know any better. And that's fucking bullshit. It offends me, and it stinks, because even when I made that post about it, and I do think for a second where I'm like, man, like, I don't really want these people to see it, because they'll probably know I'm calling them out. And I'm not really trying to stir beef, but who do I care about more? Them or the bands? I care about the bands.
Yeah, and well, in the words of Vince McMahon, "Fuck 'em, pal." It's like, so it's, it's like, I mean, seriously, and Tuck, I know from your podcast, you like to quote unquote talk some shit, so that's why I feel like I can bring.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a shit talker, and that, but that's one of the topics, man, that genuinely gets me upset, because if I had to sit and talk with those people face to face and have a conversation about the pros and cons, the only pro is that your bills get paid every month and theirs don't.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because a lot of times it's people who have never done anything. Like, there's no like accolades or anything. There's no like, it's like if you're a wrestler and you want to go to wrestling school, you're going to be trained by somebody who was in the WWE or somebody who wrestled.
Well, that's the thing, man. It's wild, because it's Joe Schmo from X Band that like they did like a tour but never really did like too much, and things never really took off. But then they can manage you, because they're like, well, I wasn't able to manage my own situation, but I promise I can manage your situation really great. And I have all these connections that I can introduce you to, but all those connections didn't do anything for me and my product. But I swear my band didn't suck. Like, it's a lot of shit that just is delusional. It doesn't make fucking sense.
Correct. Well, they know the third cousin of the A&R for, they know the third cousin. So they got
And I'm telling you, man, the other thing is too, is you can know a lot of people, and you can think that it's all going to help, unless they care, unless they like the band. It's not going to happen. And that even goes down to, dude, like my band that Jeff managed when I was young, when we were younger. I was, at the time I'm like 21 years old, whatever, 22. We fucking talked to Roadrunner for like a year, and there was like two like badass people A&Ring there, and like we were like, man, like this is our ticket. They really liked our shit. Like we thought we were gonna get it. We set up this whole showcase event where it's just the band playing on a small stage in a jazz club during an afternoon to like just 8 heads in the music industry sitting in the back where the lights are set, where you can like see their ankles but not their faces, and you're like, this is the fucking worst situation ever. And you think it's the one moment you have in your life to make it. You play, and then later on you find out they're like, yeah, it just didn't do anything for me.
Right.
Like, that's so stressful. And it doesn't matter unless that person in that moment at that time wants you. It's not going to happen. So you got to be malleable. You got to be willing to bend. You got to be willing to break. You got to get back up. You got to keep going. You got to dude, that shit was crazy. Like you don't even know, like
Yeah.
you know, and you think, yeah. And that's what I've been there too, where I was like, all right, that was it. That was my chance. My time is up, you know, and then something else comes around. But when that time comes around, you got to just get back up to and go for it and work hard. Yeah.
Well, I'd say that you both ended up okay. Out of all that, I would say that you ended up all right. Okay, I mean, not
Dude,
great. I mean, not
yeah,
really great, but great. You know what I mean? But not,
thanks.
I haven't done anything but work in this scene in this industry for 21 straight years.
Yeah, no, I know. And I remember when you first told me that you managed Sworn In, that's like one of those like, what the fuck you just say moments, you know, it's like it's because like anybody who's been around this music for even a short amount of time, especially if you're Australian, you know who Sworn In is.
Right, especially if you're Australian.
Yes.
Like I had Sabian from Alpha Wolf on the podcast, and he brought up Sworn In like without me even saying anything. So it's very real.
No, that's my man. Sabian's great, and he keeps it real.
He's a good guy. But so yeah, man, I don't know. It's just going back to these managers. It's just, and it's sad too, because I think what happens is that when you're a younger band and you get burned like that, well, number one, it takes a while for you to figure out you're getting burned because you don't know any better. And then number 100%. Two, yeah, and then number two, you're kind of adverse to anybody wanting to help you because you think that everybody's just gonna fuck you over. So yeah.
And you know, the other contrary to that too, just going off of like our personal situation, is then I've had people react and say, well, that's easy for you to say, like, just because your manager worked for your band for free for 2 years. Well, fucking guy, sorry that he didn't have connections. He was building connections. He was learning how to do it. He was figuring it out. And he's been with us every step of the way, growing with us every step of the way. And now manages whatever bands he wants and has an incredible roster and has a great career. But that's also why he deserves the fucking percent. Because that percent, by the time that you get further down the road and things are working out, is good money. Like, and then you have 5 bands that you manage and you get a percent from. You're making a really good career, but you can't, you know, it's what is it, counting your chickens before they hatch or whatever. Right. It's just because how many of those people? I don't know.
Nothing happens overnight. Overnight successes aren't overnight. You know what I mean? It's just everyone's impatient and it's instant gratification, and you know, you know, if they drop a new band or a new song, and if it doesn't just go viral and they become famous overnight, they just, you know, they lose steam and excitement for it instantly. And you know what I mean? Where it's like, no, like that's when you have to, when you hit it, then you have to drive through that and then keep going. You know what I mean? And just a lot of people aren't built that way.
Yeah, it's tough to just be consistent day in and day out for years, and it's just a lot of people just don't want to do that. And I mean, hey, it is what it is, because I mean, I notice all the time, it's just I see bands like just in my local area, you know, they're like, we're releasing our album Friday, and it's like, I didn't even know you fucking had any music. You're just throwing out an album here on Friday. There's like no
and it's like they see Bring Me the Horizon or Chance the Rapper doing a drop that way, and they're like, oh, we can do it that way too. And it's just like, no, it's not the same. Like they're dropping it from the top of the Empire State Building and you're just walking out the front door on the lawn. You know what I mean? Like
you're dropping it from you're dropping it from my old apartment, which was half underground, you know? So, I mean, you weren't really going.
Correct. Yeah. You have to first go up the stairs to then drop it like that.
Yeah. And it's also not tapping into that, like, kind of Gary V mentality where if you're a small band, you only got 30 followers on Instagram or whatever, Spotify or whatever. Maybe some of them are real fans, though. And you have to give the teasers and get them hype. And then they're hype.
Yeah, you need
that hype. They're gonna be like, no, I'm telling y'all, because what's one thing that people love is to know about something before everybody else knows about it. So you got to check this out because, you know, L'Exquisite Delaire is the best band that you've never fucking heard, because they're gonna be the greatest emo band of all time because they are the emo band, your favorite emo band. And then like you share that, and then a couple demo, and then that gets a couple more people, and then it grows and it grows and it grows. And will their numbers and will that band be valued the same a year from now that they are today? Absolutely not. No, it's definitely going to be better. Do we know that it's going to be like fucking massive? I can believe that, and we can do everything that we can to try to get there. But it'll be better, but it just you have to try. And a lot of bands just give up too quick these days. You can't, I don't think a lot of I don't know, the viral stuff works when it's like like I Prevail is a good example where that ended up translating into a really solid fan base, but they also wrote really great songs after having cover viral, shit.
Yeah.
Well, and just going back to the if you only have 30 followers thing, it's like I feel like most bands, as soon as they think they've captured a fan, they just abandon them to continue capturing new fans. And it's like, no, that's like a seed that you've planted, and now you have to water the seed for it to then grow. You know what I mean? And then that's how, and getting those people, like Tuck was saying, getting them like hyped up for something, they're going to naturally elevate that on social media or wherever for you and amplify it. And you just need to continue. It has to be day in and day out. And that's the issue, is that I guess bands just want to go on tour and party maybe, and they don't realize that it's like literally, like when I say Left to Suffer has done something band related for almost 2 years straight every day, probably including Christmas, like I'm being serious. Like, yeah.
And it's making a fan that's as consistent as you want your band to be too, where it's like, I don't want just a fair weather fan who only likes one record. I want them to like me no matter which record it is. And I want them to know, like, if I post something about like, man, my life is harder, man, my cat broke its foot, I need you to, help me with the GoFundMe or whatever. That's how those people get that shit paid, is because they've been consistent with their fan base, and their fan base actually cares about them. Like, you can't, because you've seen a million people do shit like that where they're trying to make some fundraiser and it doesn't work out, but then some people can do it in 2 minutes or whatever, which I've never done one myself. I'm just using this as an
I was going to say, is your cat okay?
I don't have a cat. My girl's allergic to everything, so I don't have any of that shit.
A goldfish. Get a goldfish.
Dude, I used to have 2 goldfish, but I can't
You
say
should get a piranha.
Dude, I had 2 goldfish with the greatest names on planet Earth, but that's another thing for off air, because they were...
Got a lot to talk about out there.
My goldfish have been canceled.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my goldfish.
It's like that, canceled.
I literally can't even say their name. Like this video will probably get taken down once it's up on YouTube.
Oh my god. Alex Jones.
Serious.
Dude, no, it's way worse.
Alex
though.
Jones.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. It's this whole band, being in a band and trying to get it out to people, it's a crazy mystery, and like no bands are the same, because like I know, for my band, I think I can definitely say with confidence that a lot of people have found us and probably like our music a little bit more than if not for our YouTube channel, just because they know who we are as people. So there's that element to it as well, that like once you, like, if I didn't meet Tuck, because I mean I like Fit for a King. I do like Fit for a King, but I like Fit for a King more now that I've met Tuck. It's not anything to do with just because I've met Tuck, but it's just you humanize the people behind
100,
the product.
1,000,000,000%. Human connection creates everything stronger.
You want to know one of the reasons why Warped Tours were so successful for us is because Ryan sat at that table
all day, every single day for the whole tour for 2.5 summers. We didn't ask him. We didn't tell him. We didn't do nothing. He just knew, if I want my band to be more popular, I know people want to talk to me, because and that's just keeping it real. Do they want to talk to me, the fucking bass player that just joined the band, or do they want to talk to Ryan Kirby? No, they want to talk to Ryan Kirby. So you sit him there every day. And did that up the sales? 100%. Because tell me you're going to stop and talk to him and then not snag something. Exactly.
You're cheap. So it was a really interesting experiment to see, and I think that really did help because, like you said, it humanizes you, and that's why when you get done with the show and I run off stage, and luckily the guys let me take a shower first because I'm a disgusting animal, and I throw my sweats on. Okay, I can just like sit on the bus for the bandwagon, like we're on a big bus bandwagon for the rest of the night, or I could go talk to people and just like take a drink and go walk around, hang out, say hi, like, because why not? Like, what tell me what you have to do that's better than go and engage with the people that just chose to give you money. Like,
exactly.
it's just a weird concept to me, but I'm also really grateful to get to do it because I fucking love music. I love metalcore. I love shows. Like, we were at shows all the time because Jeff was booking them, and I was there multiple days a week because I fucking love it and I love my friend, and it's just the environment that I want my life to be surrounded by.
Well, after that very touching speech, I'm gonna go ahead and add a Path song to one of my playlists real quick. Give me a moment. I actually do have Vendetta on there. I'll be honest, but no, it's so true. And I when I have mentioned similar things to people, they're like, well, this might make me sound like an ass, so I'm trying not to. But it's some people are like, oh, maybe some people are. They have social anxiety and stuff like that. And I'm like, listen, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But I have it.
Yeah, but these people are literally here for you. I mean, you're in the driver's seat in this situation. If, like, for example, if I was just in the crowd at a show and like Ryan Kirby walked up to me, I'd be like, hello. It'd be like the easiest conversation he's had in his life, So
yeah. But for someone like Ryan too, it was an acquired skill. It's not like he was like fucking quarterback of the football team coming out and like Ryan.
Alabama. I thought he played at Alabama. Okay,
he did.
I gotta get this straight. Hold
on. Because he's a pretty shy guy. Like Ryan's not as loud or obnoxious as like fucking me or whatever. But even with someone like a Bob, where when you look at them and they scream like confidence, it's just. That's the thing I love about those guys in particular is it does take them time to warm up and to get comfortable with people because they don't want to have bullshit conversations. If you ask them a question, they're going to shoot it to you straight. And that's a hard thing to do with other people. So it takes a while to get comfortable, I think, as an artist, being yourself and seeing how people react to it, if that's the version that you want to get. Because you can sit at the table and just go, hi, thanks for buying my t-shirt and let the night go on. But if you're trying to make real connections with real people that really want to care about you, you have to offer them something sincere. And if you're going to do that, it takes something from you. And by the time you're done with it, yeah, you're tired, but that's work. It's fucking it's good. It's positive. It's part of the whole experience. Like,
and it's literally just physics. It's for every action, there's an equal to greater reaction. So the more you put in, the more you're always going to get out. And it might not be instantaneous. It might be step by step, month by month, year by year over, a 10-year period, like Fit for a King. But you're gonna get it back, and
because it's one of those things. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I just remember what I was gonna say was just a lot. I feel like everyone's got anxiety, especially in 2020, but I just feel like more people need to realize that, and not just if you want to be in a band, but whatever you want to do. You just need to go on the fucking offense like the Golden State Warriors and just fast break, run up and down, shoot threes, have fun, and just try and score as many fucking points as you can with literally no worry or concern with what the other team is doing.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And if people just can switch their mindset to be offensive and doers and just to be in doing things and being in action, that's just all that it takes, really. You know what I mean? Like when it comes down to it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think that just the best promotion for a band. I mean, you can do all this, different. You can pull up the calendar and the content schedule, and that's all definitely great and it all helps. But word of mouth at the end of the day, that's the best form of marketing. It's free.
That's been the best for
And that's
FeaturedX.
yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. And so
that's
that's
how
like,
we've been able to come, be a part of the community. I think is solely through that. And just to fit before we transition to that, and just to finish up
yeah,
on the marketing and management stuff and whatever. The reason why I find it so offensive to charge that monthly fee versus doing a percentage is every month you're taking money, and by the end of the year you're taking $2,500 roughly, $3,000, whatever, of all money that would have advertised that band and would have made that band bigger. Thus, at the end of the year, that band would be worth more value if that band gets bigger, and that band got bigger and you help them get bigger and they start to legitimize themselves. Now you as a manager, you starting to legitimize yourself, and you look like a good guy because truly you're like, yeah, I sacrificed too. Like, I'm not taking nothing. I just tell them to invest, how to invest, when to invest, how to push themselves, how to do all these things. Now y'all are both building your stock together.
right,
That's what makes you go from being just a normal guy to being the guy who manages, Fit for a King, Silent Planet, Era, Hot Mulligan, Mississippi, Dayseeker, fucking cool shit, because you ate it with them. Like,
right.
you know what I mean? It's just it's tough. And then you watch someone like Jeff, when I've been there side by side watching him do it with his bands over the years as well. And it's the same thing where it's like we have to be in this together. Otherwise it's just not going to work if we don't have the same values.
Yeah, no. So yeah. By the way, Jeff, I'll pay you $1,000 a month. We'll talk off air about that. But anyway,
I'd do that. I'd do that.
We're opening up shop, baby. That's the new part on FeaturedX.
Listen, I know we just had this big philosophical discussion, but when you have 3 zeros at the end of it, now we can talk. But
Hey.
Man.
But yeah, so let's talk about FeaturedX. I know that's the whole reason, the whole premise of how this conversation came to be. And I know Tuck's sitting there like, when the fuck are we gonna actually just talk about what I came here for? What the hell?
No, dude, I've been having a blast with you, man. I'm just enjoying myself.
I'm glad. Well, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, so FeaturedX. I remember. I don't remember. It was one of those things. I said this to Jeff when I talked to him. I said it's one of those ideas. It's like any idea. It's like, why didn't I think of that? It's like one of those like most obvious things. And I like to picture Jeff, because he said it was the shower idea. I like to picture he's washing his face, right? So the water's coming down on his face, and his eyes open up while the water's coming down on him. His mouth opens up. He's got water in his mouth. And he's like, I got to text Tuck. He falls out of the shower. The curtain comes down. He's crawling. His legs bleeding. He texts Tuck from the floor. The hairspray falls down, hits him in the head, but he gets the text out to Tuck. He's like, I got this idea. Is that what happened?
Almost.
Minus the blood.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think naturally, just because we're us and we talk 3 times a day on the phone every day anyway, we were on the phone instead of texting. But yeah, it was that run through. We were talking about Left to Suffer, and then Jeff just says, wouldn't it be so cool if there was just a site where you could just access all these people, no red tape, no bullshit, just, get through it. And I was like, oh, that's the best idea you've ever had, dude. Like, for sure. I just right time, right place for me, and he was like, yeah, you think so? I was like, yeah, 100%. Hold up. And I hit up Kirby, and I was like, Kirby, if I make this thing, would you do it? And he was like, yeah. And we were like, okay. All right, so then we hit up a couple more people. We hit up, like Tom Barber, Telly Smith, Levi Benton, like a couple people, right. Dave Stevens. I was just like, yo, if me and my buddy make this thing, will you do it? They're like, yeah. We're like, all right, we got some cool people. We're making a thing. All right, let's make it. So then, you just like keep it chill for a couple weeks, get a thing made, maybe work out with someone that's really difficult or whatever. But, you make this thing. We get the site, we get it rolling, we start getting artists in. Then you have to see if it actually works in practice, and it has so far, which is really cool. But yeah, Jeff just had this great idea, and luckily I have a bunch of nice friends who were willing to give it a shot. And again, it's just, you scratch my back a little bit, I'll scratch yours. Let's see what happens. And
right.
Yeah, it's been great.
No. Listen, Jeff. We don't want you to get too big of a head over there. Okay, a
He's a
broken
genius.
clock is right twice a day. You know what I mean? So no, I'm kidding. No, Jeff is a very. I've thought about booking a consultation with Jeff. You know, just because I think he's a very smart guy. I can learn a lot from him. I like talking to him on the podcast. But so with FeaturedX, I don't remember where I saw this, but it just pops up because, you know, the iPhone knows my habits and knows everything. It knows that I'm looking up pictures of Tuck on Google. So it sends me.
That's because also, just to reiterate before we go forward, I'm fucking Googleable, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the truth, man. You know, when people trifling, they looking at me and they're like, yo, what's up with you? I'm like, I don't know, fucking Google it, bitch. Because you could do that shit, you know.
There you go. See, if you were a single guy on Twitter, you could just put in your bio, Google me. That'd be the end of it.
Google me, bitch. Oh my God.
The end of it.
Yeah.
But so I came across this, and now because this all ties in, because the stuff with the manager related to me, and then the stuff with a feature related to me, because I had not the best feature experience pre-FeaturedX. So when I saw FeaturedX, I was like, this is a really cool way to keep, because let's face it, you know, I mean, there's a lot of great people in this genre of music, but there's also some flaky-ish kind of people. So this really keeps them accountable, which is one thing.
Say.
Yeah. So it keeps them accountable, but it's also just like instead of just, you know, if I DM Levi Benton, for example, tomorrow, he may not. He's too busy building his house. You know, he may not see that.
He's too busy building his house.
Yeah,
he may. But if you request him on FeaturedX, he'll get the notification. Yeah, he'll know.
So I saw that idea and I thought that was awesome, because I believe, and I know that I talked to Jeff about this as well, but I believe collaborations are what will propel this genre of music forward. Because I think it's not that it's stagnated or anything like that, but a lot of people, like, the collaboration thing is kind of not really looked at in the same way as the more popular styles of music. So, and I think FeaturedX really
look at hip hop, look at Old Town Road, look at anything. Look at pop music, look at, you know,
the feature is the 2020 digital landscape version of the split CD.
Exactly. Yeah. So, because it's like what you guys talked about on the episode you did on Tuck's show. It's like when you had a band from the West Coast and the East Coast, they did like a split EP, 4-track EP or whatever. To try to put the fan bases together. It's pre social media. That's how you would start to promote yourself on the other side of the country or in different areas. You know, sometimes there would be a 4-way split. You know, a band from California, a band from Florida, a band from New York, a band from Chicago, and just different things like that. And that was very prevalent in the scene in the late 90s. Now I'm dating myself, and I started going to shows in 97, booked my first show in 99. And that was just, it was like a duh thing. So now it's just like, that's how it translates to a digital landscape. It's the feature, and it's the collaboration on a single, and like, you know, you have to leverage each other's fan bases against one another so everybody benefits, and then it will help the scene overall. You know what I mean? So raising the awareness of the scene so more bands can break through and have amazing careers. Yeah, and I did double check FeaturedX this morning. I still don't see Billy Ray Cyrus on there, but, you know, maybe eventually.
Still not there. Someday.
Yeah, they're still waiting on the email back. Him and Dolly Parton. You know, I'm waiting. You know, but
that would be pretty cool.
That would be. Imagine that on a metalcore track, Dolly Parton.
Dude, Dolly.
Billy Ray would be cool. Yeah.
Dolly's gonna be like, yo, I got a lot of money. You trying to hook up, hustle? I'll be like, yo, I got you, girl. I'll call up my fiance. I'll be like, yo, bitch, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I got Dolly Parton. That's my new booty, though. I got that. Because she's a good philanthropist, too. She gives away money all the time and shit. Dolly Parton's shit. So basically, honey, if you listen to this, I'm leaving you for Dolly Parton.
Dolly does listen. She's messaged me multiple times, so she will.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Wouldn't that be cool? No, I man, just to go off her, man, what a prolific songwriting career. In all actuality, what an incredible someone well before their time, you know. But
yes.
gosh, yeah.
No,
And she is beautiful for her age. But no, I'm not going to leave my fiance. But
I was gonna ask.
I know everyone out there was like really curious. Ooh, I get a
was.
shot.
Yeah, but no,
we'd have too much beard, dude. It would be really hard to kiss. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it'd be a lot.
But yeah, access is I feel like the most important thing. Like you were saying, like how many DMs a day or a week do you think people used to get? And unless you have another blue check mark, they probably don't even see the notification.
Right, exactly. And so I don't know, man. It was just one of those things. And I guess before we really dive into some of like the particulars of that, I just kind of more of like a philosophical question for both of you. Because you both have been around the block. Why do you think, outside of like, bands maybe featuring on their friend's song here and there, why that collaboration thing never really took off inside of this sphere?
I feel like our scene likes to always find what works and ride that out. And it just, if it's not, you know what I mean? Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess, mentality. Most of the people in our scene just are older, like the people who run it at least. And it's just, if it wasn't something that was there to begin with, it's hard to bring in new shit into the scene and because everyone's very stuck in their ways.
They're also not looking at it strategically where they're like, okay, how can I expand my fan base? Okay, I'm gonna get like a person from Japan on my track. I'm gonna get a person from Australia on my track. I'm gonna get a person from South Africa on my track. I'm gonna get a person from England on my track. They're not thinking about it that way. They're going, well, I'm gonna have this person on my track because they're my friend. That's great, but if you have if you have a Fit for a King August Burns Red collaboration, okay, which at the time was helpful for us for sure because we were like a younger band, but say specifically we do it right now where it's like, okay, what's the likelihood of someone who likes Fit for a King knows August Burns Red and someone who likes August Burns Red likes Fit for a King? It's probably pretty likely. You probably know who both bands are, even though it was crazy when we did like the We Car collab. It was crazy to see comments of who's Ryan Kirby, who's Dave Stevens on each other's stuff. So by doing that, then you see that's an instant like, okay, there were people over here who had no idea what Fit for a King is. So we need to we tapped into something there. Okay, what's another market that we can tap into that can allow us to make some new fans? And you should think about collaborations that way because although it's really nice to write songs with your friends and have your friends on your songs, it's not really pushing the needle at all.
Yes, no, for sure. Because so here's the other thing I wanted to ask you guys about when it comes to collaborations, because a lot of people, a common complaint, which I'm sure that you've seen numerous times, is how does this really benefit me? Like, because unless they're promoting it on their end, how does this really benefit me? How can I get anything out of this? And so this is an FAQ on FeaturedX, I'm sure.
So say if you're Spencer Charnas and you're asking why would I do this?
Oh, so we could start with that, but
from the customer standpoint,
or from the other side.
Yeah, but we start from the artist standpoint. Yeah. That's an interesting standpoint. Yeah.
I can get through them both pretty quickly. I mean, one from the person who's requesting a Spencer or a Kellen Quinn or whatever. The reason why you're using the service is because he's going to see your message and he's going to listen to your band 100%. If he doesn't respond to it or if they decline it, it's because they didn't enjoy the track or it just wasn't for them or wrong time, whatever. Right. But the reason why we have the service is because there's no red tape for you. You don't have to deal with management. You don't have to deal with the which is a thing. It's not like I just called everybody and was like, hey, do my thing that we know might break some contracts, but we're not going to worry about that. We definitely handled all that, so you don't have to. And it's not like if you just go and send an email to some of these people's managers that their manager is going to make a concerned effort to send it over then to Spencer and be like, okay, Spencer, do you want to sing on this? And, you know, I'll negotiate this money with you with a local band. No one would spend the time on it. Like no one would really want to deal with it. And the only way that it would work is if you got through directly to Kellen or Spencer or whoever, and we're just like, hey, would you please sing on my song? And then they like it. But the likelihood of that is pretty slim. So now they have a profile set up with their, you know, quote unquote demands or what their rates are or whatever. And even if they, you know, don't check it for a week, but they got a request, the difference is I send them a text or I call them and be like, hey, by the way, you got a thing, check it out. And then they check it out. And it's super easy. And then it just guarantees that they're going to at least hear you. He's going to at least hear you. He's going to at least hear your band. And you didn't have to pay $1 in order to make sure that that person heard your band. But there is a chance that that person hears your band and that they like it and that they want to sing on it. And sure, you have to pay for it. But what if after they sing on your song, they really liked that song? And then a year later, maybe you open for them and you're like, yo, Spencer, I opened for you sang on my song. And now I'm getting open for you. It's cool. And maybe y'all end up talking. Maybe you become friends. Maybe it grows into something. And that's the thing that's opposed to the, well, I only have my friends sing on my songs. Who's to say you won't become friends?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that I think has to do with the, well, how is it going to benefit me immediately mindset? Which that's just not.
We also had a discussion about today.
Yeah. But the other thing is, there's this greatest tool that has been ever invented. It's called Facebook Ads Manager. And if you use that, you can leverage the feature and get it in front of all of the right exact people.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that will go and
it's like if you have a song with Kellen Quinn on it, you know, figure out how to target people who like Sleeping with Sirens on the internet. There's
millions of people out there that will listen to your band just because his name is on it. And then they might like your band. And, you know, obviously he's a prime example. You know, he's a more popular person on the site. But it's just a way of, you know, one, guaranteeing your ability to actually get your music and your band in front of this person, and two, expanding your fan base while, you know, and giving you an instant tool where, you know, that's how my band in the back in the day, you know, Visions, the band that Jeff worked on when we first made a band, it was like, okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to Matt from Our Last Night, because that's my boy. They're in New Hampshire. We're in New York. Okay, so Matt's going to record the EP. Matt's going to sing on a song. That's going to be the single that comes out, because that's going to get us an AP or something like that. Maybe.
Right.
And maybe it'll get us on Absolute Punkin'. Maybe it'll get us on Property of Zach. And maybe it'll get us on the shit. But we don't know. But we're going to try, and you spend that money just in the hopes of it works. But now you have a thing like Facebook Ads Manager where you can literally target shit down the throats of people that you know definitely like the thing that you're selling them. It's like, if you can't sell a carrot to a horse, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know, come on.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, then that's usually, I mean, a lot of people haven't, and that to me is just crazy, is that like a lot of people in local bands or just a band where they're not, you know, supported by, you know, they don't have like a marketing person that's on board with them, or they haven't taken the time to watch YouTube videos about how to use a Facebook ad.
Which I haven't. Right. If I had to do these things myself, I would not do good.
But you don't do well. I know do good.
I know do good.
You just sounded like a 5-year-old for a second.
Yeah.
But I bet if you were in a local band today, you would. I mean,
yeah.
I'm 38. If I was 21 years old and in a band again, my band would be huge no matter what we sounded like.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that time machine pretty soon.
Yeah, man, wait till you hear this record though, Richard. It's great. It's really, really good.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
But
there was the flip side of things too, where, you know, as why would an artist want to use it too, is, you know, it's not like you have to promote it a lot. And luckily we are building this community where people are checking it regularly and they're interested. And the other thing is, it's not like, say you go on the site and you're like, oh, I want to have Lil Lotus on my song. Oh, you know what? Turns out I have $1,500 right now. And there you go. No, like bands have to look at it and then they'll be like, okay, like cool, we want that. Let's save up for it. And then, in a month we can do that and we can put it in and we can afford to do this. And all that kind of stuff is going to help you in the long run. But it's just helpful for the artists because then they don't have to necessarily promote themselves all the time, but they can promote themselves regularly. Artists that definitely promote themselves more, get more requests. But it is a helpful tool for them where they don't have to give out any private information. They don't have to talk to anybody on the side. They can talk all through the site. All the file sharing is through the site. So for them, it's a very minimal, effort.
Right. What were you going to say, Jeff?
A lot of our goals have to do with undevaluing the people in our scene. I personally feel like, like I said, I've been in this for 21 years, and it just feels like everyone in a band in our scene has always been told, you're not going to make money on your music, or you're not going to make money on your art. You're going to have to be a road dog and tour 300 dates of the year and sell tons of merch. And that's the way you're going to do it. And that's the way things are done. So blah, 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 blah. And It's like, no, like these people have value, especially in a 2021 digital economy. And we are going to help show them all that they have way more value than what they've been told their whole lives. So we're going to create a lot of new revenue streams for everybody. And like I said, hopefully lift the entire scene up. It might, it's going to take a few years, but lift up the entire scene so more and more and more bands can really come out of it like they were a long time ago.
And another question you can ask any of these artists on both sides is, all right, you put out an extra 10 good songs a year. How's that going to hurt you?
Yeah,
answer that question.
Well, here's the thing: is it's just a brand awareness issue. It's if Kellen Quinn is going to be on 36 songs in 2021 as features through the site. He like Leo, we were talking about this earlier. Like when touring resumes, Sleeping Silver Sirens comes back with a brand new record. He's going to have his name out there on 36, 40 other songs leading up to all of that. That brand awareness is just going to be hitting people over the head. Then you have the whole scene revival thing coming in at the same time. Plus, you put in the whole, he probably is getting a lot of like, oh, wow, it's awesome that he's doing this. Wow, he's really nice and easy to talk to, because he is. He's really easy to work with and building up a lot of good karma, I guess. You know what I mean? And that shit's real too.
Yeah, and I think that some people, I see this a lot too, is that it's like, well, if he's on all these songs, it devalues his feature. And I'm like, dude, do you have any idea of how fast this stuff comes and goes nowadays? Like he'll be on one song today, one next week.
You'd never know.
You never know. It just goes and goes and goes.
Yeah, that everyone is, it's because everyone in our scene still has the mindset of
2001.
Correct. And they literally don't think with the mindset where that works in a 2021 reality. And it's just like, I'm sorry, if you just go to all of the hip hop acts who have blew up over the last 5 years, they basically all have the same formula, and it's 3 full-length albums in a span of 18 months, plus featuring on 20 to 30 singles, plus putting out 10 singles of their own. You know what I mean? It's just that you have to do more. Yes, it has to be consistent. You has to be every single day, and you have to put out more than the next person, because you're fighting for the attention of the end person. So it's like, what you guys have done and built during COVID with your content is 1000% going to help drive your band as soon as the world reopens.
Yeah, that's nice of you to say, Jeff, even though you said that you hated my band. So I don't know. I'm kidding. Everybody, he never said that. He never said that. I'm joking. But,
Jeez.
I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah, because to me, from the outside looking in, which by the way, I have two like bucket list features that I have, and you have neither of them on the site. Which
Who is it?
Uh-oh.
I have two. So one,
I know one.
Is the shirt that I'm wearing, Frankie Paul Mary. I mean,
I don't know.
sounds well. Jeff was alluding to some things, So
I don't know. Maybe
the other one, I would love for you guys to get, and it's one of those guys that it's just like this guy could ask me for 10 grand, and I would be like, guys, what's your credit scores? Because we got to figure something out here. But it's Phil Bozeman.
That's another one I've been trying to get. If
Doesn't
you
do many features from what I see.
No, and if you keep up with Phil, they've been working on a record throughout a good chunk of COVID, but I'm always gonna check back in and try to get Phil. Man, I mean, he's the GOAT. I love that dude. And Frankie is a friend of mine, and I have talked to him about it. And maybe there's a time and a place where that lovely man will grace us with his presence. So
Yeah.
With the bigger stars, it's a little more of a challenge. It certainly doesn't come as easy as you would hope, but we're finding like cool ways to do it with everybody and try to get as many people involved as possible. And so Phil, if you see this, we would love to have you again. But I
want every single person who is an artist or creator
Absolutely.
in our entire scene to be on the website. Everyone.
And I think in time there'll be more and more people will be interested and be down with it, because they'll see that it is a tool and that it just makes things easier, man. Like,
yeah, although you did let me on the site, which I mean that was the worst decision you got.
Not very scream on. Yeah, that was not a very scream on decision.
Yeah, that was a terrible idea. No, but I was going to ask you guys, because I know that when FeaturedX first started, you had like this like core group of initial offerings, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So was there ever like a philosophy switch of let's just get everybody, or was that the plan from the beginning? And what's the thought process behind just, letting everybody on? Because some people could say, well, maybe it's inundated with too many people. Some people are like, well, I have more of a selection. I'm playing devil's advocate here, but go ahead.
Well, I'm going to be honest. When we launched it, we didn't have an exact plan. We had the basic idea, and 5 weeks after that shower, the website was launched. So It happened pretty quickly. And then after it launched, we basically had to start, collecting data and being like, okay, so this is what works, this what isn't working, and just seeing people use the site. It was very exciting at first. And then, then basically after a couple of months of that, then it's like, okay, so this is how things are working. This is where we should take things. And just as you do more, you just have more to evaluate, and then you can make better decisions on where to go from there. Yeah. So I don't know exactly when the switch exactly happened, but it's been in our mind for a while now. I
think maybe when we got around like 200,
the entire community. Yeah. So we were just like, that's what we want to do. Like that's our end goal, because we didn't really have like an end goal at first. It was just like this idea. And now it's like, no, we want to bring together our entire community so our community collectively can make way better art more frequently.
Gotcha. What were you going to say, Todd?
I forget, but just going off of what Jeff was just saying, like, yeah, that's why we're going to continue to like unveil more things on the site. I remember what I was going to say now. Just as an example of how quickly things snowballed. Originally, we were like, okay, we'll launch it and we'll put up 13 artists.
Mm-hmm.
But then just so quickly the list grew, and it was like, okay, well, by the time we went to launch, we had more. So we've just been kind of going with it and trying to take in as much feedback as possible in order to make something and just kind of feel out when's the right time to do something different and to add to it and to change it. And the having everyone join the site, one, it boosts morale, allows everyone to feel like they're in the same, we're all in the major leagues. It doesn't matter if you're Kellen Quinn or you're Richard. It doesn't, we're all up there together, which is a cool thing. It's a good feeling for everyone. And it will boost the spirit to want to collaborate and want to advance your product. And that's why we're going to continue to unveil more things on the site that are just everyone getting a chance to flaunt their stuff and be like, hey, I can do really good work. I can work with you and I can make your product better, whether it's a graphic designer, whether it's like a photographer, whether it's like stuff like that, because everybody needs these tools to be able to make things stronger in the future. You know what I mean? Like that's what makes for good content.
Could also have managers on there for monthly rates. You ever thought of that?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
That is the absolute next thing we're adding.
You know what? And I will say one thing that goes along with that, man, is we've been lucky enough to get like 500, 600 applications, like crazy amount of applications. Even after how many we approved, I was like, man, we still have so many. This is crazy.
Oh my God.
No, we've had like 800 to 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now after all the ones we've accepted. But that's the other thing is I really do listen to fucking every band, man. I listen to like everything that's coming through. And that's why I just want to emphasize people to just like be themselves and be unique. And that's one thing that even yourself, like, your voice and the way that your band is and the way that you present yourself, it is unique. And what you're doing out here, putting out all this content and grinding and hustling is unique. And that's why you've been able to make yourself someone that, all these people know about, whether it's, Taylor Barber and Mikey Arthur or me, doesn't fucking matter because I see your shit. I see you circulating. And that's a good place to be. Because if you want to be a part of the community in the metal scene, that's what the job that you want, then you got to get people to notice you, right? Well, congratulations. You did that, dude. Like, that's fucking awesome. And that's what more people need to be trying to do. But if they're not working as hard as you and also just being themselves, because your voice is you, the way you act, the way you do your thing, your yellow jacket, all of it, it's you. That's right your thing.
It's right,
you know what I mean? Consistency, though, like that's important. So, you're working really, really hard, and a lot of people aren't elevating themselves to that level where it's just consistency and care and caring about your product. And, I think that the community in the end will help everyone to have more awareness of like valuing themselves just in general, and also not being as scared to hit people up because it's just a click away.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying all that. It's one of those things, man, where there did reach a point where I was kind of like, man, do I really want to be known for like being a YouTube channel guy? And I'm just like, at one point I was just like, fucking cares. I mean, like really, as long as he knows me, like who really cares? So I do appreciate you saying all that. And I'm glad that through all that, I'm able to meet guys like you. Because I mean, that's part of the reason why I do all this, right? And I know that, the word networking is kind of kind of like a not taboo, but it's one of those things that like a lot of people think it's kind of like fake or whatever. But
no, man, it's the most
thing.
It's the most important thing that I know, and it's the only reason why I got where I am is because whether you have to be consistent, you have to be nice, you have to like be sincere all the time, because you never know when somebody's going to scratch your back. You never know when Jeff or Chris are going to know Fit for a King and they're going to get you that shot and let you have a tryout. And you get to have a tryout because they were nice, but then you still got to show up and be nice, and you still have to put in the hard work, and you still have to care. And that shit is a fucking trickling effect. And it goes down to putting together FeaturedX, because 7 years ago, did I know, okay, I'm going to build this website. Eventually, I hope I can get a bunch of Screamo people on it. Not fucking no. But then when it came time to make it, it was cool to just look at my phone and be like, shit, I could text all these people. You know what I mean? And then it was just like that, and it's easy, and it's just being nice. Like,
yeah, no, and I think it's a great platform. I remember like when it first came out, I would go because I meet with the guys every Monday. That's kind of like our day to do music stuff and whatnot.
Cool.
And I have a son. He has my guitar player has 2 kids, so we do what we can. And so I would go in. I'd be like, I'd be on FeaturedX. I'd be like, guess how much this guy costs. Guess how much this guy costs. Like, it was just like a fun game to play because you never really know.
Yes, I feel like that
it.
game was getting played at local band practices everywhere.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
No, it was because it's one of those things that you're like, how much?
What was that comment I sent you earlier, Tuck? That it was like FeaturedX is the only fans for metalcore dudes.
Straight up,
like,
man.
oh, we're on to something good.
But it's similar, you know what I mean? Because you're selling what you got. People on OnlyFans are selling what their thing is, and that's a lot of people that want to shame someone who's like, okay, so you're a singer, right? That's your profession. You're in a band, and you're a singer in a band, or you're a guitar player, or whatever. So if you could get paid to sing on 2 songs a month, and that would cover your bills, you're just doing your job. You're not doing anything crazy or anything that's worthy of being shamed or to make you feel bad because it's on someone that you didn't previously know's record or single or whatever. You're just doing your job. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
You know,
just in a
don't
different
overthink
capacity.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing, I mentioned this to Jeff when I had him on, and I think this is an interesting idea. I know you guys have obviously thought of it because from talking to Jeff, but so like on Spotify, like when you're on there and you see a song, this rapper, say it's featuring, I don't know, who's a popular rapper these days? Help me out.
Lil Baby.
Okay, there we go. See, as you can tell, I'm the oldest 28-year-old there is. But so it's featuring Lil Baby, right? So you click
Little
on that.
Baby.
Yeah, the little lad. Okay, a little lad.
Yeah.
Okay. So you click on that, and it brings you to his Spotify page. Now, what I've noticed though for us, like where it's just as like for me, for example, when you click on me, it's just it'll just be a couple of songs. It won't be TrueShot, or it won't be Fit for a King or Left to Suffer. Have you guys thought of like the band collaborate? So for example, like you have Darko, right? You have like Tom Barber and Josh Miller. If you get both of them, what from you guys' endpoint or just in general, what would make it be that? So like it would appear on the Spotify profile.
You will see.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is different because obviously, Little Baby's just Little Baby, and that's
little
just
lad,
what it is.
Little lad.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, okay, if you hire Kellen Quinn to feature on your song, you're technically not collaborating with Sleeping with Sirens. Because it's a collective of people that create another entity altogether.
Yeah.
Right.
But I will say that I think what's going to happen when things start accumulating. You know what I mean? Like once there's 36, 40 Kellen Quinn songs out there, like it's going to create its own piece of the algorithm inside the system.
That's a good point. That is a good point because on Kellen Quinn on Spotify, it'll have all these songs.
And there is a way to do like a band on band collaboration or whatever, where it is, Alpha Wolf featuring Sworn In or whatever, but it's got to be more than just the singer. It's got to be writing together, making a collaborative like track together, which it's like that. Like, I don't know if it ever actually came up, like Structures and Volumes making Vultures, you know what I mean, or whatever, but but actually doing it just in a song, and it is very, possible and something that would be cool to do. And I think more bands should do it. I know some bands that might be doing it.
Or you just have to get clearance from the right people.
Yes. That was, you can use the Sleeping with Sirens name alongside Kellen Quinn or vice versa, if with proper clearance. But hey, just so you guys know, I got a jet in a minute because I have to. I'm trying to book my wedding, bro.
Okay.
So
that's a good enough reason, I guess. I mean,
I suppose.
But
luckily,
I didn't realize we've been on here for 2 hours already.
I honestly didn't either. I had no idea we were just going. But no. So yeah, man. Listen, man. I'll let you get out of here. But I just wanted to say thank you for having me on FeaturedX, and thank you for doing this. And it's cool that I discovered Fit for a King years ago at Warped Tour, and now we know each other through the internet. It's just
Yeah.
it's a cool circle of life. But
Yeah, and it's great to see what you've done for yourself in this time period, because it's really hard. I've experienced more feelings or things in regards to mental health that made me wake up and realize whatever I talked about when I was younger, I didn't understand. And wow, this shit is real and it's serious. It's been a real challenge. And I think during this time period, it's easy to just say, well, if you didn't do anything during the pandemic, you're a fucking loser. No, it's not true, because a lot of people are really broken and depressed and having hard times. But doing stuff like this, like you've been doing, creating a name for yourself and focusing on your band and doing all this content and your YouTube video and your reactions and all this kind of stuff, it's very healthy for you. And it also does a positive, because I hope that you are seeing that you're getting something out of it, because truly, I mean it when I say, like, I see your stuff get posted. I see when Mikey and Taylor are interacting with you and you're interacting with them and all these other singers, and you guys are creating an ecosystem. You guys are creating a community amongst yourselves of a bunch of young people that just because fucking Mike Veronica, Danny from Asking Alexandria and all these people don't know who you are, maybe that doesn't fucking matter 5 years from now, because maybe y'all do your own thing and y'all become something. Stop fixating on everybody else and just be in the moment. That's what it's all about, because that's when you just wake up one day and you're like, holy shit, like I'm on a Warped Tour compilation, or I'm like doing whatever. And it's like, man, that's the stuff when I was 15 that I thought was literally impossible. And that translates to anything and any job or whatever. It just so happened that this is what you and I would like to do or whatever, you know what I mean? But that's how I see the future is, I don't need everybody to recognize Taylor Barber because eventually they will, when they bow down to Left to Suffer for being one of the greatest metalcore bands on the planet. It's going to happen. And you have to manifest. And that's one thing that Jeff has always instilled in me and does within himself, and is a very powerful tool, because anyone can do it. But if you don't believe and you don't make this matrix in your head and put the pieces together and believe that you can be a star, no one else can make that for you. No one else can make you believe in yourself. And it's hard. Every day is a challenge. And I certainly have had many days where I've gone, man, I don't know if I can do this, or had moments where I go, I don't know if I can go on that plane and meet a bunch of strangers, or, I've had times, man, I broke down crying to Ryan Kirby, just being like, dude, I don't know if I can do this without Bobby. I have had dude, there are challenges day in and day out, but you have to believe in yourself and you have to try. So the most important factor in this whole thing. And luckily, that's why we do FeaturedX together. We're best friends, and he's been my right hand and I've been his for fucking ages now. And focus on good people, being sincere and just doing your thing, being yourself. Like, you've crushed it this year, man. You've done a really good job for yourself.
Well, that means a lot. That means a lot.
Yeah, network, or what is it? Network equals net worth or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Phrase. Yeah, your network, the people who you surround yourself with and the people that you talk with and interact with and exchange energy and ideas with are very important. And well,
absolutely.
I think that I usually ask for words of wisdom at the end, but you got that covered. I mean, there's really nowhere else to go. I mean, that was beautiful right there. But so guys, at the time, obviously when this comes out, the new Left to Suffer song Anger will be out. Adam and we did do a reaction to it, and if you haven't heard it by the time this podcast comes out, you got to listen to it. It made me slouch in my chair. I mean, I literally, my body fell down the chair. But also, I know you probably know Tucker Fit for a King, but he also is an off-road minivan as well. And also check out A Left to Suffer, like I said, but also The Gloom in the Corner. And go to FeaturedX, where you can get either me or Kellen Quinn. It's pretty much the same person. We sing very similarly.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Tomato.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no difference. But anyways, thank you both. And I know Tuck's got to run, but Jeff, I'll tell you that stuff off air if you'd like.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Hey, it was an absolute pleasure, guys. I'll talk to you
later. Thank you for listening to this episode of the TrueShot Guest Spot Podcast. If you are listening on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, you hit subscribe, you turn on notifications so you can notify release new podcasts or just new videos on the YouTube channel. Also, comment down below as well. That all helps out this big bad algorithm that we're all trying to figure out. We're going to be eventually taken over by robots, but I'm just trying to make the best of it while I still can. If you're listening to this on Spotify, just share it on, I don't know, like an Instagram story, something like that. Tag me, tag Ryan, Tuck, tag Jeff, tag one of the bands that Jeff manages. If you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. Hopefully 5 stars, but if it sucked that bad, I guess a 1-star review is okay as well. But anyways, till the next one, thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.